try them anyway. So we go to Robin.
Oh, Ed, I was just a bit concerned about one of those last ones there where you're actually going to measure the methane of the cow in a holding situation, because the cow actually masticates while she's resting at the water, and we're going to get a false read as that's averaged over the rest of her 24 hours, especially in a rangeland situation.
Yep, no, that's very true, and the plan is that we're going to hire a PhD student to look at that very problem. And so what will help...
So our whole future hangs on that one student. Good luck to her or him.
So what we'd like to do is be able to be in a situation where, at least for some animals, we can measure them 24 hours wherever they are, perhaps using a different technique. Like there's a technique known as the SF6 technique, which in itself has some problems. But at least then we could get the pattern over the day, because we know, you're absolutely right, when the animals are ruminating, they come into water, they lie down, they ruminate, and their methane emission is quite different to when they're out grazing, for example. But we do know there's a diurnal pattern, and if we can verify the pattern for at least some animals in the paddock, and then relate that to that partial measurement we get from all the animals, then I think with a bit of wizardry we can actually come up, and it's always going to be an estimation, you're never going to be able to definitively measure this stuff, but I think we can at least make a damn good go at it. And you joked about, one PhD student's going to save the world. We don't have millions of dollars. This is what I find ironic. They've put a bridge across a road in Rockhampton for $8 million. Well, the federal government methane funding is not far out of that. It's in the low millions. And really the priorities is, and we do what we can with what funding we get.
Yep. Thanks, Ed. And then we've got another question.
David Rankin's my name.
Thanks,
my
David.
question relates to the comparison of a family car to the methane produced from beef production. The family car's carbon comes from a carbon sink, whereas the methane's produced out of a carbon cycle, which I think you said was returned within 14 years back into that cycle. Now, a big percentage of Queensland is natural pasture, which in a pristine environment would have been burnt probably every 5 or 10 years, which brings in nitrous oxide, which is 190 or 200 and something compared to the 23 methane. Just a question on that.
Yeah, Stephen Bray put you up to this, didn't he?
Thanks,
yeah, because that's what the next talk's going to be about. I absolutely agree. I think I put that slide up just so that you can see how it's viewed by the urban population. They don't have those. They're coming from a completely different position to us. They don't understand fire. They don't understand nitrous oxide. What they understand is what they hear on the TV and what they see in the Australian or whatever it is. And the thing is that what's coming out very strongly now is eat less beef, save the planet. And it's a lot more complicated than that. But I think I wanted to show that because those are the sorts of issues we're going to deal with when we talk to these people. Say, well, look, eating beef is as bad as driving a car. So what? I've got to have a car, but I can go and eat chicken. And that's, I think, we need to be on the front foot to present arguments that can then be heard and be seen to be rational, and so that we don't end up going down what I think could be a disastrous route.
I'm going to go to the very last question for this session from Bruce Collins.
Thank you, Ed. Look, my question's almost been covered, but I'll just add a little bit more to it. And I suppose it is, we're talking about human-induced global warming. What is the alternative here before European settlement? In other words, the pasture would have gone up in smoke every few years, and if it didn't go up in smoke in much of Northern Australia, it was going to be eaten by termites. They do know that termites produce a lot of methane. They're not very big, but they're a bit like icebergs. 80% of the termite colony is you don't see, it's under the ground. Has there been any research into that sort of thing? Because we have to level up the playing field. As you said, it's the net.
Termite research is an area that suddenly getting a lot more attention. When obviously they're very small, but if your stocking rate is like one beast to 3 or 5 hectares, chances are in some country there's far more biomass in termites than there is in cattle. And there's some evidence to suggest that, but we need a lot more. We need to understand if putting cattle in the paddock reduces termite mass, we don't really know that question. We don't know exactly how much methane termites produce. If you think it's hard measuring methane from a cow, you try doing it from a termite. We are, certainly there is a lot of work to try and redress some of it. It's just this, Northern Australia is a big blank book when it comes to knowing, the details about this. There's a huge amount of work that needs to be done to be able to definitively do net accounting.
I'm sorry, John, I do need to close off because we need to go to a break. I've got another speaker starting at 12 o'clock. So, but please keep an idea of it, because Ed will be on a panel before lunch, and you can use that time to expand on a question that you've already asked him, or alternatively you can add one to him then, if that's okay. Now we're going to go to a break now. I like the shift that we've heard just even now about the idea that there are some management things that can be done even now. They're decisions that you need to make, but what Ed's talking about is that there are options there. We've got just 10 minutes. It's meant to be a stand-up stretch. Get yourself ready for hearing the next one. The tea and coffee is on out there, and you might have time to make a cup of tea, but you don't need to, because we've just got one more speaker and then the panel discussion, and then we'll be going to lunch. So just a brief break. We'll be back in here. The speaker will start at 12.